Hey, welcome everybody to the Talking Box Show. Give me a minute and checking out my audio to make sure you can hear me. So I'm gonna go right into. We're gonna I'm going to critically think about this Fox News report that was published yesterday by Amy Nelson from the Fox News, right? And it's titled Texas Rancher Eviscerates Traitorous Biden, warns it's a matter of time before cartels enter border towns. I have a whole lot to say about this one. And the subtitle is Deaths of Two Americans Renew Cartel Terror Fears. So this is a response or a report after the 4 Black Americans that were kidnapped in northern Mexico just recently. And unfortunately, 2 had perished. Condolences to the family and the friends and the communities that these people are from, that and everybody else impacted by this senseless killing, right? But keep in mind too, I'll probably make another video and correctly think and talk about the cartel, right? Check this out. So now there's reports saying that the cartel left a letter to the Mexican government, right, and the Mexican police, and it said that they apologize and that these 4 individuals acted on their own. But the cartels, they had mentioned that they emphasized that they operated on their own. They violated our cartel rule not to, take innocent life, innocent bystanders. They apologized to the Mexican woman, that, to her family and friends and everyone impacted by it. And they turned these men in because they acted on their own and because they weren't following the cartel rule, right? There's a few rules and everything. This makes me wonder, really the cartel, a Mexican cartel that's always being villainized by the news, doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat, but for example, the Fox News channel. And if you're following the Fox News channel and other news outlets and you're finding out about Donald Trump and his administration and his lawyers and, Republican politicians that supported his lie, that he created, they all created the insurrection on January 6th. You guys seen what happened. You guys seen the footage. You got Tucker Carlson still, going into court and saying that, he fabricated everything, just like, Donald Trump's attorneys and everybody, right? They're all they're all copying pleas now because the United States Justice Department is on them. But if you're paying attention to the news, you're finding out how these people are lying, right? The problem I have with these news outlets, they hate Mexican Americans. So they hate brown people with a passion. Everybody knows it, but no one's talking about it. Here in the United States, news, right? Hollywood commercials. You don't see any Mexican Americans in those commercials, right? Hardly ever. Just like in the movies, even though a lot of brown people from South America and the United States are big in the Spanish speaking world, but there's no coverage or any political representation of Mexican Americans. And this is, a huge problem. But so here's the report. So I'm gonna start reading the part and I'm gonna point some things out and emphasize some things. So, Texas rancher Debbie Douglas spoke out Thursday about the escalating danger at the border after 4 Americans were kidnapped and 2 killed by a cartel in Mexico. Douglas Ranch is located in Brownsville, a city that sits along the Mexico border, adjacent to Matamoros, where the kidnapping took place. Douglas said on Fox and Friends First that living conditions in her area are only getting worse, and she doesn't believe anything will improve, even if the cartel members are arrested. So, if you're wondering how come I haven't put any YouTube videos on my channel lately, it's because if you watch my videos and I talked about the injustices, here in Amarillo, Texas, my 3 work accidents, the attempted murders at work, right? I was assaulted 2 times with heavy machinery. The third time, I was crushed, my whole body. I've been denied medical treatment. So, I suffer still. 5 years later, I still suffer from multiple catastrophic injuries. It's a real miracle that God performed, not for me, but for Amarillo and the rest of Texas. And obviously, it's going to reverberate to across and throughout the rest of the world. It's a miracle that happened here. I should have died. Anytime a body it has contact with heavy machinery, especially like I said, when you're crushed and you're not receiving medical treatment, but you're assaulted by a medical doctor, threatened by police, the mayor, Ginger Nelson here, just crazy stuff. It just spun out of control, right? It's a real miracle that I'm alive. But because a miracle and God didn't, it's not like how the church, portrays who God is in Jesus Christ, right? But I haven't received medical treatment. Obviously, God hasn't healed me. And I suffered big time, you guys. Last week, I just sitting down making these videos. I can't write or type or read books. I'm very limited physically because of these injuries. And last week um I strained my abdominal wall muscles. This is one of the most excruciating, painful things. I mean, it's hard to breathe. I mean, it's crazy, guys. It's hard to walk, sit in chairs, but I'm feeling a little better. And I see my medical doctor, and like how he put it the other day, he has my medical file for my workers' compensation claim here in Texas. So keep in mind, I still can't hire an attorney. I've been censored. I've been put on the FBI watch list as a terrorist because I filed a complaint with the FBI about the assaults at work, the abuse by a network of doctors, that was provided by Texas Mutual Insurance Company. Um, how the Texas Department of Workers' Compensation is not regulating, is not interested in investigating, especially the assault by medical doctor. I've been gaslit, you guys, in the last 5 years, and you just imagine, I multiple brain injuries. I mean, stuff that they didn't tell me about and didn't provide medical treatment. All these injuries I discovered just last year, and man, it's hard for me to sit here and hopefully I can. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully I can read this report. Just sitting here right now, I'm in so much pain, you guys. Man, but Baruch Hashem, no pain, no gain, right? So that's why I haven't put videos out there much. I want you to know that I studied the Bible in Hebrew and Aramaic and the New Testament Greek. But I've been hindered drastically because of this work accident and the crimes committed against me. The protection of this medical doctor by the Texas Medical Board, the Amarillo Police Department. The Department of Justice. I filed complaints; they still haven't responded to my complaints, and this is why I'm talking about this video or this Fox News report about these shootings, because I've been trying to get people to listen to me, to understand my work accident happened 5 years ago, and the way I was denied, medical treatment and assaulted for using the insurance by a medical doctor. I mean, I've lost it all, you guys. The psychological abuse. I've been trying to get help. I've been asking for help. No news agencies will report on it. The Department of Justice won't get involved. No attorneys, nothing. You guys, I can't even call the police department. Because certain police officers, along with the district attorney offices here in Randall County of Amarillo, Texas, covered up the assault by the medical doctor. That was attempted murder too, because I had all these brain injuries, head injuries, body injuries, and he assaulted me and he accused me of committing insurance fraud. I mean, there's no due process for a brown brother, you know what I'm saying? But I have to get out there and get here on YouTube and put this video out there because I want to point some things out about this lady here in Fox News. And a lot of it's not, I'm not a person that lives in denial of reality. I take every day as it is, right? Whatever, every day we're faced with something new. And I don't think a lot of people truly understand the overreaching of the government underneath the Trump administration and Donald Trump too. Man, you guys, the hate, tensions, and hate crimes skyrocketed against Mexican Americans, right? And you guys don't hear about it anywhere. Just like right now, what I just discussed about my Texas workers' compensation claim, right? Because we're censored here in the United States of America. But this lady and the Fox News, I got to call them out because obviously there's Mexican American politicians in office, but it seems like these other more powerful people, right? The billionaires, rich people. I mean, there's so many billionaires here in Texas, conservative Christians, man, that are just corrupt. You guys don't understand. I don't think people in Texas understand. And I heard that Amarillo, Texas, this whole area is surrounded by multi-billionaires, man. And that's how come the justice system is corrupt here in Amarillo, Texas. But this report, man, I just want to emphasize, when has anybody ever heard of a cartel leaving a letter, turning in they're a gang, right? They're villains. They're like Pancho Villa, right? Mexicans are dirty and we're wetbacks, we're beaners, they call us, right? It tells us all the time to go home, go back where you came from, all this hateful stuff, right? And obviously the cartels are going to be criminals too, right? But think about, I don't have the letter, or I'm just reading off of other, American news outlets, their reports, but I don't have that report in front of me. But hopefully in a couple of days, I could make another video and talk about just the letter in itself. So let's get back to reading here. So look at what this lady, she's from the Douglas Ranch. She's going to be a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire, or maybe it's a little community. I'm not sure. As far as I know, American history with ranchers and ranches, it's usually, it's usually super rich people, super powerful people, super influential people that own this property, right? But I want to dissect and critically think about what she's saying. I mean, when you just look at this report, no respect for her own United States president, and she's a white woman. Look at her. I mean, I put in the link, or on my video, there's a link directly to this video, and there's a video itself. I haven't watched it. I don't watch the Fox News because look at all this hateful speech and rhetoric that's put out there in news. This is psychological manipulation. They're preconditioning people to, you know, to hate human beings that aren't white skin like them, or blonde hair, or blue eyes, or brown, or just not white. If you're not European, right, if you don't look like them, then you're not accepted, and we're treated like, I'm a native Mexican and I'm a Jew. I'm half white too. I'm half, German, Irish German. I just found out that I was, Sephardic and Ashkenaz, European Jewish descendant. But look at this hate speech towards the United States President Joe Biden. This tells a lot about this news journalist, right? Amy Nelson, the Fox News, and this woman right here that's making these hateful allegations against Mexicans, right? And what I don't think, or I think people don't understand the inference, the implications that when you read this material or hear people saying these things, I don't think people truly understand, because I came across a lot of Mexican Americans that are Republicans that hate Mexican Americans. I don't speak Spanish. I guess they call a lot of us that are biracial, they call us white Mexican. If you ever heard about Nick Fuentes, he's the leader of some sort of white nationalist movement, young kid, right? They say he's Mexican and he's half white, right? But I'm not racist. I don't subscribe to any racism. I don't tolerate that stuff. But I have to point out, I mean, just think about this title. This just sounds off. It's mostly highly disrespectful and dishonorable. And I guarantee this woman right here should be out at church this Sunday praying to God, like she's been doing probably her whole life, along with her family, along with a lot of these Christian, conservative Christians here in Texas, right? Smiling in your face, talking behind your back, praying to God against you, probably spending money to put curses on you, all kinds of crazy stuff. But look at the title: Texas rancher eviscerates traitorous Biden. Joe Biden is not a traitor. His policies isn't um, causing the National Guard, right, the Texas National Guard, to lose their focus or power or authority on the borders. That's a lie. There ain't no influx of illegal immigrants running up in here. I mean, I even hate using the word illegal immigrants because, like I said, a lot of Mexican Americans hate other Mexican Americans, especially people like me that don't speak Spanish. And it's nonsense. It's all nonsense. But look at the disrespect here. So Texas rancher eviscerates traitorous Biden, calls the United States president a traitor. The Fox News highlights it and makes a report, and people are okay with this, right? A lot of people that are supposedly conservative Christians are okay with this blasphemy, I guess you could say, because anytime you blaspheme a human being, now this is for people, this only applies for people that study the Bible, whether you're Christian or Catholic or Jew or a Muslim, right, practicing Islam. I have a lot of friends that are white, black, brown, that are Muslims. They read the Quran in Arabic and stuff. I'm from Denver, Colorado, in case you're wondering. So this is the standard I'm using is, blasphemy. When you blaspheme another human being, most importantly yourself, when you begin disrespecting yourself, you're disrespecting God. And when you disrespect human beings, you're disrespecting God, because after all, right, we're made in, they say the image of God, or we're made in the shadow of God, as the rabbis would say, and the church would say we're made in the image of God, right? But you're violating the 7 Noahide laws that are found in Acts chapter 15, verse 19, 20. I mean, like I said, I studied the Bible in 3 supposed dead languages, right? And then I found out a lot of Jews are speaking Hebrew, and there's Israel, their first language is modern Hebrew, and then Greece is still speaking Greek, right? And other places, are speaking Aramaic. But from the church, I was told all my life that these are dead languages. So all that plays in with this report, you guys. So Debbie Douglas Ranch sits near Mexican border town where Americans were kidnapped and killed. And I've already read, look at just think about this. It says Texas rancher warns cartels are coming for U.S. for the United States border cities. Everybody get ready. Do you guys hear it? And she's not. So this is the inference here, you guys. The implication, it's like a signal, a message that's being signaled to other white supremacists that are rich conservative Christians. White, I'm not saying all white people are racist, but that's the United States history too. And you have to if you read American history, you'll see that a lot of the descendants today that are subscribing to white supremacy or some kind of white nationalist ideology, their ancestors that came here as illegal immigrants or immigrants were mistreated too because they didn't speak English. They were killed, they were raped, they were financially you know struck, put into an environment, right? Powerful people from the church create an environment to put, they financially, they're financial terrorists too. They financially punish you and put you in an environment, and in that environment where a lot of us, all Americans, all skin colors, live in, right there in poverty. No grass, no trees, just dirty, just run down, right? But when you go to the richer sides of the city, then you start seeing something's ain't right here, and that right there is called environmental racism. So that's what their ancestors were faced with, especially in New York. Go back in those pictures and see those buildings they're living in, their apartments. Man, them places, were just run down. But you have to understand all that to begin to critically think about the inferences that the message this Fox News channel network is putting out there, psychologically manipulating people. I'm talking about people's psyche, their intelligence, their mind, their mental faculties, their emotions are being programmed, being being preconditioned to hate people, but most importantly, to hate themselves. A person that hates other people really hates themselves. And this report, she's using what happened in Mexico to cause a division between the black and brown communities here in the United States of America. So, like I said, if you're black and you're brown, right, and you're biracial, because like I said, I came across a lot of people that are black, Mexican, black, Asian, like all these, black Asians, Mexican Asian, I mean, white, black, white Mexicans like me, I'm white, native Mexican, crazy stuff, right? So if you identify yourself at, with a skin color and, you know, you need to take this serious, but not not serious to where you have to go out there and commit crimes. No, that's illegal right there. What I mean by seriously is that you have to understand these are serious matters. She's using what happened to once again be racist against Mexican Americans. Man, when Donald Trump was saying illegal immigrants were killers and murderers and stuff, that's what, I'm right here in Texas. So if you're from Texas or you're not from Texas, let me tell you right now, when I met my wife here in Amarillo, Texas, a couple years back, we got married when we were homeless. I told her, I said, you need to clean up your act. I said, just like how I'm doing, I'm trying to look presentable to society because we're in a conservative Christian state. These people have they practice double standard of law. They, they're going to judge you for being homeless, whether you're white or not, or black or not, or Mexican or not. If you're poor, because these are super rich people, they're going to hate you. They're going to judge you. They're going to be, how snobs are. You guys remember the word snob, SNOB? And and I also told her, on a spiritual plane of reasoning, okay, I explained to her, I said, what's going on here? It's like Amarillo, it's like this whole geographical area is in a spiritual void. I told her what that means is that Um, they're void of the messianic consciousness. Now, this is probably the first time you heard about the messianic consciousness. It's purported throughout the New Testament in the Greek. Um, you can find different aspects of it in the English translation, but it's clearly right there in the Greek New Testament. And I kind of explained to her what that meant, and I told her, according to the Greek New Testament, the Antichrist are these conservative Christians, and really the church system in itself. So it takes all that to understand, to analyze this report and to look at the inferences, the messaging that she's putting out there, right? I can't get the Fox News to do a report on my freaking work accidents, all this stuff, you guys. Nothing, right? Attempted murders, all this crazy stuff. Insurance fraud by Texas Mutual Insurance Company and the Texas Department of Workers' Compensation and the Allen Butler Construction Company based in Lubbock, Texas. But look at, they're quick to get her, and they're quick to put her hate speech out there in a news report. So it says, Texas rancher David Douglas spoke out Thursday about the escalating danger. Sorry, read that. So I'll get to the third paragraph. Douglas said on Fox and Friends First that living conditions in her area are only getting worse, and she doesn't believe anything will improve, even if the cartel members are arrested. So she's not literally saying that it's the cartel or Mexicans, right? Illegal immigrants. Like I said, these people hate Mexican Americans, and they call us immigrants, illegal immigrants, and they call us worse things. They call us beaners and wetbacks. I lost my job out here. I had to keep working, you guys, after I got crushed and everything. And a month later, I was called a wetback by a foreman, and then I was fired for it. So, because I stood up for myself. But so this report, she's not saying that it's anybody or drugs or anything that's making the quality of life to deteriorate, right? The living conditions in Brownsville, Texas, to deteriorate, right? Let's read this. The Mexican government is afraid of the cartel, she reasoned. If Biden does not do something, this is going to come more into our country. I'm gonna flat out tell you guys, when I read this the first time, I already saw psychologically that this lady is delusional. She needs to get out of that ranch and come and experience American life. It's people that are isolated. Don't forget about Texas, you guys. You know, Texas has a lot of church cults here. It's crazy, but this is fear mongering. This is what this church um feeds off of. There's a connection between her, Fox News, Donald Trump, the conservative Christianity, politicians. There's a connection, and the connection is, they're racist, and that's the church history here. If anybody knows American history, prior to the 1960s American Civil Rights Movement, churches were segregated. And this is a reason why the conservative politicians, right, Republican politicians, don't want you to educate yourself in American history and church history. That's why the church don't teach you church history. Definitely won't teach you, right, the original languages the Bible are written in. But they profess all day. They got the Holy Spirit. God's talking to them. They go to heaven. They die. They have near-death experiences, whatever you want to call it, right? But never are they. They can't even read the Bible in the original three languages, and that should tell people right there. But if you're from the church, hey, don't feel upset or think that I'm, clowning on you or targeting you. I was baptized as a baby, like all my siblings and family members, for at least 5 generations. We're Roman Catholic Christians. So I know today, Protestant evangelical Christians don't even know they're going to these churches, and that's what they're called. But these churches tell you the Trinity, right? They teach you about the Trinity. That originated with the Roman Catholic Church, not with the modern Christian. If you identify as a Christian today, and you're non-Catholic, your religion, with all its like what 40,000 denominations, it's only 500 years old or less. So I see that connection here between that church, hate speech, the behavior, the psychological conditioning of people to hate themselves, to blaspheme against God, right? By hating other people. And that's why I want to tear this report up because, like I said, there's Mexican politicians right here in the United States of America. There's brown people that are politicians, but they're not. It seems like, these powerful people, it's like they have them by the huevos. They can only say so much. But I truly believe that's going to change, especially within the brown community and the black community. I foresee, the black and brown community uniting because we share the same the common denominator. Dog, these people are trying to enslave us too, you know and that's the common denominator that we all can relate to. And also, don't forget about the church history we all have. Your parents, my parents, grandparents, great great grandparents, for who knows how long, at least 500 years. When the Spanish Inquisition began back in the 1500s. That's how long this been going on. And that's why I want to point out in these reports and everything. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me get back to the report here. I mean, I have a whole lot to say. If you can tell, I'm a passionate speaker, right? And after being racially targeted or racially targeted, and when they try to take your life, this ain't fun at all, you guys. They took away my voice for a few years, but I'm coming back. But with the chesed of God, or the church will tell you, the grace of God, but it's really kindness of God, so she said, Douglas said the community is largely unaware of the severity of the danger. And she believes the two individuals killed in Mexico didn't take the threat to heart when they traveled across the border. So this is what these white supremacists do. These are conservative Christians. I'm gonna keep pointing that out. You could say I have a holy vengeance against the church now because, like I said, these cats try to murder me out here from my own business at work, and it got involved with the Texas government, and nobody. This is what I found, and this is a truthful thing. When you're Mexican American, you might identify as a Catholic or a Christian, or even the Latinos and Latinas. They're people see them and they think they're Mexicans. That's how much people been preconditioned, psychologically manipulated to automatically hate Mexicans, right? Not knowing that you're hating people from South America or from Italy or Spain or Portugal, So, or there's Native American too. We all share a common characteristic trait. And let me point out to you too, because this lady's fear mongering, and a lot of people here in the United States of America are censored by our own, news outlets and just everything that you receive information from on TV or um, there's a huge population of Black Mexicans in Mexico, a lot of Blacks in South America, even up in Canada. I mean, I have friends that are in Canada that are Black, and they're Canadians, and they never been enslaved, and their ancestors come from London. So, one of them can trace their, and with their family traditions and family documents and stories. They're already in London before 1500, before 500 years ago. And so I'm just kind of trying to give a little background information about how Canada has Blacks there that are different, treated different, right? In South America, all over. A lot of these rappers that you see on the East Coast, or a lot of them speak Spanish because they're Cuban or Puerto Rican, but they're black skin and they speak English too. But you can hear their accent and when they talk, right, in their songs, because they're just getting paid, And there's nothing wrong about being Black, speaking Spanish, right? What's wrong is that the American people are being misled to think that like there's no black people in South America, right? I mean, there's Asians down there speaking Spanish and Middle Eastern people, a lot of Sephardic Jews, Spanish Jews are down there in Mexico and South America. And they all, another misnomer about a Jew, they're white because they're Ashkenaz, European descendant, from that area in Germany and Poland and, like Prague, where my family comes from, or my mom's side, you know. I mean, so I have to paint this background picture for you so you can understand where I'm actually coming from in the climate and the tensions of racism, right? I mean, we can't deny there's racism, just crazy. And it's news outlets like this and rich people like her that identify as a Christian. And remember, they only use the Bible when it's convenient to hate on other people. I'm gonna have to stop this video. My stomach is killing me, man. If put a like, leave a comment. If you like my commentary, reading this report, I really want to analyze it and break it down to ease the tensions, to get to give a clearer perspective for people here in the United States of America. When you see people that are different skin color of you, we're not different. We're all human beings. That's the one race of the world. And there's nothing wrong. Take pride in who you are and how you present yourself to the world, and love everybody, love yourself and love everybody and advocate for those that are, being stepped on, like in my case, right? Man, I really want to analyze this and just tear it apart, but I'll end with the conclusion. Yeah, these are fear mongers like Donald Trump. They put fear in your heart and mind. They tell you lies and they want you to be passive, right? To believe in Jesus Christ, turn your cheek the other way, get smacked 2 times instead of one, but they won't do it. They won't walk that extra mile. And they have money and influence to get on these news outlets to put hate out there. And like I said, condolences to the family members and the friends and the community that these, 4 Black Americans come from, and the ones that passed away. Condolences to the family, man. I'm sorry that happened. Um, but there's a bigger picture and everything, and I'm calling this news report out because they're trying to stoke the fire and cause tensions and divisions between the Black and brown communities. And I'm not going to allow that to happen because also, I have Middle Eastern, Semitic blood, and my ancestors come from Africa, in a place between Ethiopia and Nigeria, East Africa and Asia and Mesopotamia and Europe. And my people come from all over this continent. It's crazy. So I'm really a person of the world. You can see my characteristic traits if you look at me and everything and see, you're like, what is he? But that's the conclusion. And just, man, leave a comment and I'll make a video about this maybe tomorrow. But my stomach is just killing me, you guys. You guys don't understand. And it's not the stomach, it's the abdominal wall. I feel like my freaking guts are just gonna break through my skin and just pour out, But Baruch Hashem, I'm alive, living. I'm here, and I can critically analyze this report and give my commentary. And hopefully I can do it here in the future. God bless you guys. You guys stay safe out there. Don't get caught up in the hype, which is the metaphor for the misinformation and the disinformation out there. Really, these people are trying to overcome all of us, all American citizens, and only the foolish people are falling for the bait and causing division. So just think about what I'm saying, you guys, and leave a comment. Bye.